committing to this character for the foreseeable future, and are there like complications with that? Or?
This is actually like super apropos to a lot of like the conversations going on in the industry right now about like how contracts work. In video games, you're always considered a day player, with some exceptions. And by day player, I mean your contract is for that session. You are not under contract for something later on. Anime is a little different, especially with things like simuldubs and seasons like that. But you're never obligated to repeat that role unless they write into the contract that like you must, be okay with recurring this role for 5 years. One of the contracts that I was in where they mentioned that specifically was an Otome game called Mr. Love, Queen's Choice, where it was like they wrote it in the contract like, look, this is an ongoing game, you have to be willing to like stick this out for a little while. But most of the time, no. They may not even know that there's going to be existing properties later. They don't know if a game's really going to hit. Like I don't think they knew they were going to make Three Hopes when they made Three Houses. Three Houses, I think, blindsided Nintendo as far as like how successful it was. And they were like, we're going to make another game. What else? Yeah.
So typically when I've seen demo reels, it's like pre-existing voices of a person. How would you go about making a demo reel when you haven't really been in anything?
So demo reels are like one of the, if you want to get a bunch of like voice actors and coaches to fight, you ask that question in a room. Because like I have a really different opinion about demo reels. You gotta come to Saturdays. Like Saturday's panel is gonna talk about all this. So I don't wanna jump into like too much of it. You gotta start somewhere. Everyone starts from zero, right? Like nobody like comes out of the womb like I've got a commercial reel. Like that's not how it works. So you have to do something and you make it up. You just make it up. My animation reel has maybe one spot that's real, that was done in a cartoon. And then the rest of it, I worked with a demo producer to write some spots that I thought showed my range and showed my skill level, came up with some character voices, came up with some attitudes, and then put it all together. So the real answer is just make that shit up. Yeah.
Has a role that you've done ever made you like emotional, like where you could put that emotion into your role, or as you stepped out of the booth, made you emotional?
So I think like there's been definitely some times where I have felt real big swells of emotion, like got teary-eyed in the booth. I generally have no soul, so it's hard for me to really get into it. I remember Achilles from Fate Apocrypha. That was like a great scene. Like it's still one of my favorite scenes I've ever done in my life. There are others that like kind of elicit an emotional response because you kind of have to step into it. Back when I was doing live action dubs, I did a dub for a Korean movie called Fabricated City, which is about a guy who gets like framed for a crime. And like the shit this character goes, it is like the R-est of R-rated movies. He's like chewing through his own wrist at one point. His like mother died. It's like gruesome. And like I had no idea this was happening before. And so like, yeah, you kind of walk out of the booth in those moments like, oh my God. So yeah, there's been times. Achilles jumps to mind as like when I was in the booth, definitely felt that and it was cool. What else? Yeah.
You probably had a lot of fans come up to you and say like, oh, this character that you played really, changed my life. Is there either a character that you played or just a character that you have like seen in the whatever that is that for you?
Okay. The question is like, people come up to me quite a bit and they say like, the way that you played XYZ like really had an effect on me because I relate to that character in this way and like, so the question is like, who is that character for me? If there is one. I'm only thinking of this because I just finished watching the third season of The Wheel of Time. Right? Wheel of Time is like my favorite book series growing up. Randall Thor and the way he deals with like responsibility that he didn't really want resonates with me a lot. The idea that like, I have a job to do and like no one else can do it, so everything else just kind of has to fall by the wayside. I resonate with that a lot. Like that's helped me out, I think, and kind of like, okay, time to do the thing. Yeah.
So when it comes back to writing, would you, do you lean more towards being a planner or a pantser, you know?
Oh, that's real inside writing lingo right there. A planner is someone that like outlines their books and like you think you would, and a pantser goes by the seat of their pants and like never. I'm in between. I don't plan very much. I tend to write. I come up with big points and then navigate in between them by the seat of my pants. Like I kind of let it flow in the moment. And I'm always really loose. Like if I find myself going in some different direction in the middle of a chapter, then that's just the way it goes. So yeah, as opposed to like a hardcore outliner that has like everything. So somewhere in the middle. Like I think probably most writers. Yeah.
Sorry to be super annoying. So just curious with the writing thing, what did you find, like, what did you use to write? Because I'm using Reedsy, because that's what I found.
I've never heard of that.
It's free source.
Okay.
And you can do copywriting inside of it, and you can find publishers through it. That's what I use.
Neat.
I'm just curious if somebody's actually had a novel that's been out, what did you use?
Most of my novels are written on Word, which is not how I normally recommend it. There's a program called Scrivener, Crivener. Scrivener is a really cool way to keep your stuff organized, so you can have like, especially in like science fiction and fantasy genres, like you need to have a story bible because you can't remember what a Gwumthika is. Right? Like you're like, I know what a Gwumthika is, but I can't remember if it's red or blue. And you go back to like your story bible and you can kind of see it in there. I like Scrivener. Yeah, that's what I've used for my last couple novels and what I would continue to use. Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation for when to start auditioning for jobs in relation to your voice acting academy? Because I've hit the advanced auditioning techniques.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of guessing that I could probably be trying.
Probably,
things out
yeah.
like that, but like I've been uncertain about when.
The question is, when can you start auditioning after you start working on your skills? Pretty much like as soon as you have something that can represent like a broadcast quality audio, you don't want anything getting in the way of your performance, right? So like if your room sucks, your mic sucks, and like it doesn't it wouldn't be viable to go to picture, then work on that first, right? Like that's your minimum barrier of entry. After that, go play. Like people think that there's this misnomer that like if you go out there and you audition for someone and you fall on your face, that they're gonna remember you forever as that person who sucked. They're not gonna remember you. It's gonna be like one more audition that just kind of like went to the wayside. So go play. There's like
I know I'll never be the same. Shook my world so hard again. Wish I washed away my sins. He's a dead man walking, blank stare in his eyes. Should have given up on the ones I trust. Never should have been surprised when they shot him down. Cold blood to the ground.